You know what's interesting? There's a book out by Malcolm Gladwell, which is called Outliers. You know, and it really is the story of looking at success and performance and talent, people who've achieved something special. And it looks at the Beatles in terms of the phenomenon that they had being able to go somewhere and really have a chance to play for a long time. The idea also is that 10,000 people who become the best at something spend 10,000 hours practicing doing it. But it's about also the very point you said, you know, you are sitting here because you had parents who lived in L.A., who were willing to make some sacrifice, who cared about you having a chance to pursue your dreams. But if you had grown up somewhere else with a different kind of parents, you might not be sitting here as Leo DiCaprio, one of America's and one of the world's best-known actors. Yeah.
And that in a combination with the fact that you have that one lucky moment. And that you can't discount. I mean, no matter, I don't care what anyone says, whether somebody has talent or not, whether they were destined for a certain career, if you don't get that one opportunity and you're not there at the right time to seize it and you didn't go for it, none of it would happen. I would not have the career I would have right now whatsoever, I don't think. I mean, it's all about a showcase or that ability to do that one thing that says, okay, now we'll allow you to do more movies. That's it. You know?
No, was that Titanic or something else?
No, that was, I think that was either This Boy's Life or Gilbert Grape.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about Gilbert Grape, yeah, right.
You know, if I didn't have the, I mean, I would have been very, very happy continuing doing television work. I would have loved it. You know, I would have been doing commercials and sitcoms. It would have been fine. Yeah. I mean, doing some theater. I was ecstatic to be an actor, period. I was finally saying, wow, I can do this for a living. I don't need to have some other vocation and do this on the side. And that, you know, growing up in this industry, I know what a very special gift that is, because there's a lot of people that would love to be working actors and unfortunately aren't. And that's the bottom line for me, what I'm most happy with. This is all the cherry, this is the whipped cream and the walnuts and the cherry on the cake. Being able to choose your roles, all this stuff is like, you know, beyond. It really is.
Yeah, but when Gilbert Grape happened, did you see it, this is my option, this is my opportunity, I've got to be there for this because this could make all the difference in the world? Or did you simply say, man, this is a great role, I'm going to give it all I have?
Well, that was an interesting decision point. It's funny you bring that up because I don't want to do any big sob story about how I grew up and, you know, the financial background that I had, but to finally have an opportunity after This Boy's Life, that first movie that I did, there was another movie wherein I got offered more money than I could have ever imagined. And I was about to say yes to it, but there was actually something, and I'm kind of surprised in hindsight looking back as a 16, 17-year-old saying, wait a minute, there's this role here that is substantially less money, but I knew, and that all came from having watched these great movies in the past, that I knew I wanted to strive for doing something a little bit better. And I don't know where that came from. It's really weird. Because I should have taken that other role. You know what I mean? But I had these heroes. You know, I really had these heroes that that I knew did certain types of movies.
Who were those heroes?
Oh, God, I mean, you know, I mean, I remember watching, of course, James Dean as a young child saying, I mean, as a young kid, as a 12, 13-year-old, you know, Mitchum, of course, De Niro, of course, Hoffman, I mean, all these guys, I mean, endlessly watching their films. I mean, Monty Clift, of course, Brando, all these guys.
They all have something. There is a line there, though, that goes through all of them. I mean, it's part sort of clear talent, but it's also sort of, there was a kind of outlaw about all of them. There's a kind of sort of rebellion about all of them. Mitchum, say, clearly Dean, clearly Brando. Talent, rebellion, outlaw. I mean, there is a certain, the people who appeal to you the most have a certain
outsider quality.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think of that?
I'm a bit of a rogue myself.
I see what you mean.
You know who the first one was? I would think Cagney. Yeah. I think really Cagney. I remember watching Public Enemy with Scorsese, actually. He was screening it for one of the films that we did, and I said, wow, I mean, even predating Brando, this was a guy that came on screen and just, you know, threw all the rules out the window. I mean, Public Enemy was unbelievable. I mean, he just lit up the screen and he was violent, terrifying. It was scary, and he was, I think, the first in that lineage of that sort of actor studio, even predating Brando, I think. I don't know why I brought that up, but I forgot to mention him
because he was out of the list.
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting, and I'll close with this. It is this notion, you mentioned Marty, and showing films, and the idea. One of the things that I hope to do here, and he and I have talked about this, is to make more people beneficiary of this man's passion for movies and what he can show you and believes in. So
I have that same passion because I have never, ever, no film historian, no one that works at any museum, no cinema, genius that I ever have met that compares passion-wise and knowledge-wise to Martin Scorsese. I mean, the man is, I don't want to use the word obsessed, but he's consumed and lives and breathes cinema every day of his life, and everything is in his life is a reference to film. I mean, he looks at life through different eyes. I mean, he's emotionally connected to movies. Now, it all comes from his childhood, of course, but
one because of asthma or something, he had to sit in the theater and watch movies was his way of.
I mean, it is infused in his DNA, unlike anyone I have ever met. So